Hey everyone, Johnny here. Don't speak news. News we're not supposed to speak about. And we'll get to the news in just a second. Just want to remind everyone we've got our emergency fundraiser going this month, so we can make rent and utilities, as my wife's been laid off, and so on and so forth. If you want the whole story, I've got it written here in the Stress is Preparing Us for Something New article. That's pinned to the top of the website. Also, at the bottom of this article, you'll see the fundraiser itself. We're actually about $800 now because some money came in outside of this that I haven't added back in yet. So we're at about 805 right now. And I want to thank everyone who's contributed so far. I want to thank everyone for the nice emails. And I want to especially want to thank you all for your prayers, your earnest and fervent prayers. Thank you. Now, moving on to the news at hand. We're going to start here in Ukraine and Russia again, as Ukraine has attacked the Russian energy grid, and now apparently the damage is very severe and it's widespread in all of these regions here, including Kursk and Belgorod and so on. So let's get into it like we always do. Russia has declared a national emergency after Ukraine launched massive attacks against the Russian energy grid, plunging regions like Belgorod and Kursk into darkness. And of course, as we know, Russia has been attacking the Ukrainian grid and their power supplies, gas supplies, quite heavily over the last few weeks as well. So Ukraine is returning the favor, I guess you could say. In Belgorod, chaos reigns, and what Russia inflicted on Ukraine in previous winters is now being inflicted on Russia itself. The crisis began after a wave of Ukrainian strikes against Belgorod's energy network. Locals reported loud explosions followed by immediate blackouts as Ukrainian drones first hit key transformers throughout the city. Within hours, another barrage hit the Belgorod thermal power plant, leaving 40,000 people without electricity. Footage shows the Luke power station, substation engulfed in flames, with emergency services unable to contain the fire. Belgorod Governor Gladkov urged residents to find alternative power sources and rely on generators after Ukrainian missiles and drones wiped out the city's main power systems. But the orders borders on absurdity. It's due to Russia's worsening fuel crisis. Local authorities have simultaneously prohibited citizens from filling jerry cans with gasoline, the very fuel these generators run on. And panic spread quickly as residents realized there was no backup plan or realistic solution coming from the government. Gas stations were ordered to conserve supplies for critical infrastructure only, leaving civilians trapped in the dark. The Kursk region soon followed as Ukrainian drones hit transmission lines, causing widespread outages. Ukrainian official Kovalenko confirmed both Belgorod and Kursk were without power. In Bryansk region's Klinsky, a thermal power plant erupted in flames after a combined strike. The explosion captured by locals and shared widely online. In the Vladimir region, a 750 kilovolt substation, a critical node in central Russia's energy grid, was disabled. In Ulyanovsk, the 500 kilovolt Veshkama substation was struck by multiple drones, causing cascading power failures across the region. Then this attack on Samara's Kanel Cherkasy substation followed, knocking out another major link in Russia's interconnected grid. Hours later, Volgorod substation went up in flames, disrupting the power transfer from the hydroelectric station. The strikes reached as far as Nizhny Novgorod, where 6 Ukrainian long-range drones reportedly hit a key energy facility, cutting power to over 200,000 residents and shutting down industrial zones, with even the mobile phone networks collapsing. And guys, since the United States is supplying Ukraine with all this intelligence and helping them manufacture these drones and so on, they can call these homemade drones all that they want. But the intelligence and everything else comes from NATO and the United States, and Russia knows this. They keep warning us about this, and of course the United States keeps ignoring it and walking across all red lines. So it's just a matter of when. Emergency crews are stretched thin, they say. Fire rages across several substations, and the power grid is fragmented under sustained pressure. With the first snow falling, many regions are facing rolling blackouts, and local governments have begun rationing electricity to critical infrastructure only. Overall, Ukraine's message is clear. For every blackout Russia causes, it will face one at home. Ukrainian domestically produced long-range drones and missiles are now able to strike hundreds of kilometers into Russian territory, with a precision and consistency it did not have in previous years. Like I said, Where do you think all that came from? All this precision and consistency, right? NATO and the US. So, as Russian officials declare an energy emergency and struggle to restore power, Ukraine has transformed from a victim of energy terror into a master of retaliation. The lights may be out in Belgorod, Kursk, and Novgorod, but Ukraine says Moscow may follow soon. And there we go. It's getting worse. The tit for tat is ramping up. So you just have to wonder, when is it going to strike the United States? Well, they're pushing for it, that's for sure. As now Senator, or not Senator, but Secretary of State Marco Rubio is playing the hawk again. He's goading Trump into these new anti-Russia sanctions. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio convinced President Donald Trump to move ahead with sanctions against Russia after claiming Moscow had shown no progress in peace talks in Ukraine. He said President Trump always leads on foreign policy. Secretary Rubio and Special Envoy Witkoff are one unified team behind the President America First vision, according to White House spokeswoman Anna Kelly. According to the publication, Rubio, a longtime Russia hawk, advised Trump after his call with Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov, which he later canceled in person. Moscow reacted sharply, with President Vladimir Putin emphasizing that Washington should understand who these people actually work for, warning that such oil restrictions would drive up global fuel prices, including at American gas stations. And that's one of the things he's talked about in this video. Producers. Let's go ahead and take a listen to this 1 minute and 19-second clip from Press TV.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has called out Washington for trying to pressure Moscow after the US slapped sanctions on Russia's two biggest oil producers.
The sanctions are serious for us, and they will have certain consequences, but they will not significantly impact our economic well-being. This is, of course, an attempt to put pressure on Russia. But no self-respecting country or self-respecting people will ever accept to make a decision under pressure.
Putin described the sanctions on oil giants Rosneft and Lukoil as an unfriendly act towards Russia. He warned that the US administration is damaging Russian-American relations. This comes as Putin's counterpart, President Donald Trump, said earlier that he cancelled his planned meeting with the Russian president in Budapest because it would not yield results at present. However, Putin appeared to remain open to talks despite the developments, stating that dialogue is always preferable to confrontation or war. Putin also warned that if Ukraine gets and uses US Tomahawk missiles against Russia, the response from Moscow would be very serious and shocking.
And there you have it, straight from the horse's mouth. And so now we see that everything is escalating, not just in the drone wars and the energy grid wars, but now also other energy grid wars, such as the oil exports. And this will hurt Russia. Make no mistake about it. Putin can't say how much it's going to hurt, but it's going to hurt them. And with all these attacks now on their infrastructure, they're also going to be facing domestic issues at home. And they're calling in, I think, up to 1.5 million reservists now. And their plan is to have them stationed around these different power stations and substations and refineries with anti-drone weapons, including shotguns. So that's what the reserves are going to be doing, allegedly, when they get called up. So we'll have to see how that develops. But just a couple other stories I want to cover here real quick today that are still important. This one here I just put up on don'tspeaknews.com and all the video channels, Rumble, BitChute, and of course YouTube. For this jabbed, marked Luciferian, he gave his testimony about how his health is doing and what it was like going to hell and seeing all the other jab people that were there already. And so if you want to check that out, I highly recommend that you do. People in the comments would too. It's quite frightening, quite eye-opening. That was shared to me by Sarah Israel from the Decode over on Substack, who put up this video not long ago about the live metaverse economy exposing the MOB buy and sell situation. So if you want to know how this is going to work with buying and selling in the near future, check it out here at the Decode on Substack. I'll put the link up like I always do. Very good video from Sarah Israel once again. And then last but not least, little more Trump news, just showing you how fragile his ego is and how he cannot stand the truth. That's why he always lies. But anyway, big brain Trump. $500 billion of annual trade with Canada paused because of a $75,000 commercial. And according to Trump, the Ronald Reagan Foundation just announced that Canada has fraudulently used an advertisement, which is fake, he says, featuring Ronald Reagan speaking negatively about tariffs. The ad was for $75,000, and he says that they only did this to interfere with the decision of the U.S. Supreme Court and other courts. Yes, regarding tariffs and them being completely illegal for Trump to do on his own. But anyway, tariffs are very important to the national security and economy of the USA, he says, based on their egregious behavior. Yeah, like telling the truth. All trade negotiations with Canada are hereby terminated. So, and here's the original clip. I'll put the link up like I always do of Ronald Reagan from April 25th, 1987, where he delivered a complete and total rebuke against tariffs. We've covered this before. Trump is calling Reagan's words in this video fake and fraudulent. They're 100% real, guys. This is what he said. The tariffs have always been a disaster for the American economy and for American businesses in the long run. In the short run, it might look good, but in the long run, they always are a detriment to the economy. Go look it up yourself. Go look it up. It's on Wikipedia, for goodness sakes. Tariffs are a terrible idea, and Trump did it on purpose to help accelerate the decline and the destruction of the American economy. And that's why he did this. So now he's canceling $500 billion worth of trade with Canada, essentially, because of this commercial which told the truth. And I'll let you watch it on your own. I think you get the point. Wow. All kinds of things escalating, guys, including in the spiritual realm and the spiritual war, as we can see here and here. We can see it everywhere. All you have to do is look around. So there you go, guys. All this and a lot more in today's video. And don't forget, don'tspeaknews.com is home base for all that we do. This is where I put all kinds of stuff, over almost 3,000 stories now that we can't put anywhere else. We've been taken down from just about every social media site because of stories like this, stories like this, stories like this. So all kinds of stories here that we can't speak about anywhere else. That's why we're here. That's why we have a website. And to find us around the internet, just click on the Rumble, BitChute, and Telegram links tab. And all the links to find us on the internet are right there. These are the only channels I have anymore because we've been taken down from all the others. Twitter, Patreon even, Facebook, Instagram. We've been taken down from a lot of things. So this is what's left. And then channel support. Well, we've got our emergency fundraiser going right now. So I'll put that link up like I always do when we have one going. And that will be it for now. Wow, guys. I'll keep my eyes on all this as always, but it's a lot. So once again, thank you for all the prayers, all the support, all the encouragement. Your emails mean the world to me. And if you'd like to email me, it's don'tspeaknews@protonmail.com. And that's it for now. God bless, take care. Johnny Storm, Don't Speak News.